bar coming up the middle, free safety. Gotta get it go. Allen steps up. Jumps over the defenders to pick up the first. Decided to use a curl way downtown.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Playbook Podcast for a long while with our uploading. My name is Zach. That's my co-host, Jared, and we're here to talk about all your NFL, college football, maybe some MMA, sprinkle that in at the very end, but we're just here to have a good time. And first thing I want to talk about is NCAA and what the hell happened with the top 5 not named Georgia and Ohio State.
Hey, look, it was a crazy weekend of college football. I mean, there were some good games that just I don't think anyone expected it to go the way they did. Tennessee and South Carolina, for instance, no one saw. South Carolina didn't even see themselves scoring 63 points. They didn't pack enough fireworks for the show.
I saw that, and that was like such a random fact. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, someone went out their way to go like, oh, they ran out of fireworks.
Was it you telling me that the last 4 scores of the game did not have fireworks? So that's 28 points they did not have fireworks for.
Jesus Christ. Zero respect to their own team.
63 points, though. So, and it's not like they scored them all late. They jumped on them in the first quarter, putting up 21 points in the first quarter alone on this Tennessee defense.
The one thing I do got to say, though, is their quarterback, Hooker, did get injured with a torn ACL in the game.
Oh, he tore his ACL?
Oh, yeah, he's out for a season.
I did not see that he tore his ACL on that.
Yeah, and it's just awful. But this was also
wasn't that in the fourth quarter whenever he tore his ACL?
I want to say so, fourth quarter. It was late.
So I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that sucks that he tore his ACL, but the whole game though they were getting owned by South Carolina, and I think this was the South Carolina though that I think everybody was kind of expecting to see.
And with South Carolina taking out top 5, that opens the door for USC if they win out.
Oh,
but
100% correct on that.
But you also have Michigan and TCU stumbling a bit, and Michigan did have a major injury. I haven't seen what came about it with Currum, their star running back.
Yeah.
So let me see if I could find any of the news on that real quick. See if I could.
Because I know TCU has been lighting it up this year, and I don't think anybody expected them to be undefeated to this point in the season. And did you see that the way that they won this game was with a final second run on, kick a field goal and won. It was one of the craziest endings I've seen in college football to date.
If it was 2 seconds earlier or 2 seconds later.
And I think Baylor had been kind of owning the game, the whole game. Baylor put up 501 yards on the Bullfrogs defense, and TCU only put up. I say only. It's Big 12, but they put up 442 yards on this Baylor defense.
Yeah, but they won the game. A win's a win.
No, 100%. And I mean, to win the way they won, I mean, it just kind of it sprinkles that little bit more on why they should be in that top 4.
I see. I think of the opposite. You shouldn't let Baylor, Michigan and TCU should feel like they lost because they let Illinois and Baylor stick with them until a last second field goal.
Well, but that's conference play for you though. Conference. You know that, Zach. I mean. You have those stumble games during the season, especially with your in conference teams, whether they're good or bad. It's just that rivalry that you get.
But this is the year that anything could happen. We could have a two-loss hypothetically now, a 2-loss LSU if the cards falls right. No. Hell, Alabama, according to ESPN, still has a playoff shot.
Isn't that wild? I mean, that's just
Yes.
wild to me that they still have a playoff shot. And mind you, them and Tennessee have the same record. It's just the two losses that Tennessee took and the second one at the timing. If you were to look at it, Tennessee still has the better resume.
So I agree, but which one's a worse loss? So we could agree that Alabama's lost to Tennessee and the Georgia lost to Tennessee's lost to Georgia. Kind of neck and neck at the time. Top programs, and Georgia's still number one in the nation.
Yeah.
Which one's worse? Overtime loss to LSU or a blowout loss to South Carolina?
But Tennessee did knock off Alabama, so that's where I kind of give them that extra, if you will, because of that.
But you also got to think, though, I'm not defending Alabama. Alabama doesn't deserve any shot at the playoffs. They're a two-loss team, not making to a conference championship. Neither does Tennessee at this point.
Hey, look, that's not how the humans think. I tell you, I know we want to talk Michigan, Illinois for our last game, but real quick, just a slight little touch in there. How about Kentucky holding Georgia to 16 points? Is this Georgia offense really the offense to go into this playoffs and be the dominant team still? I know their defense can be, but is their offense?
I think, depending on the day and depending on the opponent, because I feel like this team plays to their opponent.
100%. And does it still run off that whole theory of like they're still drunk off the championship?
I don't think they're drunk off a championship because one thing that a lot of other teams can't say they have that pedigree at coaching. That's not going to let them get drunk.
No, I'll give you – yeah, Kirby Smart ain't going to play that.
Kirby Smart is Nick Saban 2.0, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, moving over to Michigan and Illinois. What a matchup here. There was a lot of people on the bandwagon for it to be the upset of the weekend, and it super close. I mean, Michigan owned the fourth quarter. They ended up getting 3 field goals in the fourth quarter to take the lead, but still, it was only a 19-17 game in the snow in Michigan.
And you also got to think, though, their running back did get injured early in this game.
Yes.
But we're looking forward to the one in Columbus, Ohio, next week, Ohio State, Michigan.
Have you heard what happened to Blake Corum?
They're keeping it under hush. He didn't tear anything, supposedly. He's still limited.
Do you think he plays this weekend against Ohio State?
I mean, if I was Jim Harbaugh and I wanted to go back-to-back against Ohio State, I would use every chance and opportunity I had.
You have to.
And if Blake Corum is at 90% or even 80%, I'm putting him in. I'm asking him first. I'm be like, hey, do you feel confident in playing this game?
How much do you want to go to the playoffs? In essence, that's the question.
Because whoever they play in the Big Ten championship, easy.
Well, 100% correct about that. That's basically the cakewalk of probably all of them, because the Pac-12 has a couple decent teams. Well, shoot, the Pac-12 is going to end up being USC versus Oregon, so that's a good matchup right there.
Yeah, and if Oregon beats USC, then the Pac-12's gone. The Pac-12 needs to win and have one of the other 4 teams lose. Because if all the top 4 teams win out, now,
I would say you actually need Oregon to win, and you need USC to win this weekend, and then you need 2 strong teams in the Pac-12 championship game. We already know it's going to be the Trojans versus the Ducks, but if they both roll in with an 11-1 and 10-2 record, it's going to be a much better championship game for.
I got a question.
Football.
Let's just say this: it's a close game in Columbus. Ohio State beats Michigan. Mm-hmm. And Blake Corum didn't play.
Okay.
He didn't feel confident.
Okay.
Ohio State goes to beat Iowa. Let's just go Iowa.
Tough matchup.
USC beats Oregon. Who do you put in that 4th spot?
Okay, so USC beats Oregon?
Yep.
In the championship game?
In the championship game. But Michigan lost a close game without their best player.
Okay, so they don't have a chance at the Big Ten. They would need Ohio State to lose to Iowa to even get in into the playoffs. I would feel like.
Oh no. I'm so let's say Georgia wins the SEC.
Yeah.
Ohio State wins the Big Ten.
Okay, so those two are in.
TCU wins the Big 12.
They're in.
You got 3 other teams left. You got Clemson, who most likely won the ACC. You got Michigan, who lost to Ohio State, but only by like 3, like a last-minute field goal without their best player. Or you have USC, who beats Oregon. Who do you put in?
Well, I think what would be best for college football, to be honest with you, would be you put in Georgia for winning, you put in Ohio State for winning, you put in USC for winning, and you put in TCU for winning. And I think you kick the ACC out this year.
So here's how I feel about it. So what was USC's only loss?
Their only loss came to Washington. Was it Washington?
I'm looking it up right now. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera there.
Oh, you're good, brother.
Audience. I know they lost the game.
So USC is 10-1.
Oh, they lost to Utah.
They lost to Utah, which was a 43-42 game, a very, very close game. And I think Utah was ranked 20th at the time.
14th.
Oh, they were 14th at the time?
Yeah, and then Clemson lost.
That makes it even better on the resume. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, never mind. They weren't ranked at number 14 at the time.
So I would have to say USC at probably number 4, TCU at 3, Ohio State at 2, and Georgia at 1. That would be my top 4.
I have Georgia at number 1, Ohio State at number 2. And I'm going off the scenario that I gave y'all, the audience, and you yourself, Jared. And TCU at number 3, Michigan at number 4. Because I feel like out of all 4 losses, I don't feel like they put conference championships into that big effect.
Well, no,
you agree?
That's one of their largest is the ranking and D1 championships. So, like, if they're not going to put in an ACC champion unless they're undefeated or like a 1-loss like Clemson is. But again, you have all these other major D1 conferences to look at. Like this year, the Pac-12 actually has teams coming out that can actually vie for one of the positions in the CFP.
See, and
Before it was like ACC.
I feel like that the Pac-12 and the ACC, that their losses will hold them back enough to let Michigan squeak through, because what sounds better? Losing to a 2-loss Notre Dame. At this point, Utah was what? Let me see.
20th. They were ranked 20th when they lost to them, and they lost by 1 point.
And how many losses did they have at that time?
Utah had 2 losses by at that time, and ranked
20th.
20th.
2-loss Utah, or number 2 ranked in the nation, Ohio State Buckeyes. And when I tell you this, and I'm saying if it's a close game, they lose, not a blowout. If it's a blowout, Michigan's out.
Okay.
Whoever loses that, and if it's like just a complete lamb slaughter, then that team's out. That's not even the question anymore. But if it is a close competitive game and Michigan loses by 3 points without their best player, I say you throw them in versus a team that lost to a less superior team.
Okay, I see what you're saying, because they are both considered a 1-loss at this point.
Yes.
So I think that's where we go to strength of resume at that point, and I don't care about that last game. I want to see your full schedule, who you won, what was the scores, did you beat any ranked opponents, did you play any ranked opponents, and USC has a better record at that point, just like Tennessee, if you will. So I would have to put USC over Michigan at that point because of their resume. They played more ranked teams this year, and I just think they have a much better resume.
Let me see what their the Wolverine schedule entitled. So USC,
in themselves, played the 20th ranked Utah. They played the 16th ranked UCLA. And then this weekend, they're playing 15th ranked Notre Dame. So that's 3 ranked opponents, and 2 of them in the final 2 weeks. So, and then if you want to draw down to Michigan,
I'm looking at Michigan right now. They beat number 10 Penn State, and they play number 2 the Ohio State.
So that would be 2 ranked opponents, and if they lose to one, they're 50-50 playing ranked opponents, and therefore, again, you're right. USC is 50-50 right now in ranked opponents, but they'll have that 3rd game this weekend against Notre Dame. So that, again, if they knock off Notre Dame and if they knock off Oregon, I would have to put them in over Michigan because they played that extra game in the championship for the Pac-12.
Oh, and we're talking out of our ass because Notre Dame ain't no slouch. I think they're projected favorites, actually.
Are they projected favorites in this game?
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to find it right now, Hulse. Oh, I could just Google USC versus Notre Dame.
So USC is 65.5% favored over Notre Dame currently.
Yeah, USC opens up as a 6.5 point favorite over Notre Dame.
So, and if I'm not mistaken, this game is in Southern California.
I mean, I'm going to keep my eye on that game. And, Jared, before we switch gears to the big boy league, how does it feel to have Vanderbilt storm against y'all?
As much as they spoke about this during the game, talking about how Vanderbilt hasn't won a conference game at home in like so many days. I mean, they literally kept repeating it over and over and over again as I watched the game. And you could just see it. Like, Vandy was outplaying us from the beginning. So I got to give credit where credit's due. Vandy outplayed our asses. We didn't deserve that win.
No.
Again,
the whole fan base.
But we're still in that building process, if you will. So all the games I look at this year, before the Vandy loss, the losses weren't as bad, if you will, because they were all to ranked opponents and they were all tight games. But yeah, we let that one get away, and you can really see where like coaches he's already dismissed two of our elders on the team, if you will. I think Black was a junior linebacker, if I'm not mistaken, the most recent dismissal from the team. And then, Brenton Cox was a junior. So obviously there's things going on in the locker room that we don't know about, like with any coaching staff moving into a new facility. We don't know what the last coaching staff left behind, and we don't know the attitude of the players that have been left behind. So I think it's just one of them things where we're going through a shift right now, and we're having to cut fat. And even if some of that fat is what was supposed to be better players, if you will. So am I happy? Hell no. I hate losing to Vandy, but it is what it is to me. It's coach's first year. So just like I'm sure when Nick Saban first came in, the first year wasn't the prettiest, and you guys were like, what's going on? And then after that, it sort of just ignited a fire, and you guys were amazing. So I would have to say I'm not extremely worried about it yet, but it was ugly. Yes, it sucked.
Well, speaking from the collegiate level, who's probably getting paid more than the rookie class this year, let's get to the NFL a little, talk some fantasy. And first game I want to talk about was your Buffalo Bills.
We had to move to Detroit. You know what I'm saying? We had to play in Detroit, and we're going to be there for 2 weeks in a row. We're back there this week for Thanksgiving for an early. I mean, bro, the NFL is being kind of raunchy to the Bills right now. They played they had to go away for a home game and then turn around and go back to that same stadium for a 12:30 game, and then the following week. Next Thursday we play again. So, the next couple weeks are going to be daunting for my Bills. I think Josh Allen's just got to chill. I think all the hype around Buffalo is really starting to get to his head, and you can really start to see how he's kind of
cracking
folding
under the
a little.
pressure.
Yeah. Instead of relying on his
cracks.
team and having fun, it seems like he's trying to do a little bit too much. And I'd like to see in the next couple of weeks before we hit this stretch for the playoffs, I'd like to see him calm down. Let the game come to him. It looks like he's trying to go to the game right now.
If y'all make the playoffs, because right now you're a third in the division?
No, we're second in the division right now.
Oh, y'all took over the Jets?
We went a game above the Jets because they lost last week.
Oh, okay. I mean, y'all are still not a lock-in.
Well, I mean, again, it's still. I think it's still a little early, but yeah, you're right. We're a game back in the AFC East to the Dolphins right now because they beat us. So I think again, there's still time left in the season. I don't think anybody expected the AFC to be as competitive as it is this year. I mean, the Jets at 6-4, the Patriots are at 6-4, the Bills are at 7-3, and the Dolphins are at 7-3. I mean,
let's be honest though. Our predictions.
That's the strongest division in college football. I mean, I'm sorry. That's the strongest division in the AFC. If you look at it, record wise, they had the most wins, and also on the playoff push. Every single team in the AFC currently is in the playoffs. You have Miami right now with the number 2 seed, and then you have the Bills, the Jets, and the Patriots all holding wild card positions. So it's going to be a wild last quarter of the season, I think.
And it's going to be a burnout. Like the Jets, I don't feel like they're benching Zach Wilson this week.
Are they benching him?
They are. They confirmed it today.
Really?
Yeah, and then I don't know. I truly don't know how this AFC. You also have in the NFC the Cowboys manhandling the Vikings at home, and it's like,
I hated it.
Did you see that? Did you see that happening?
They beat that ass, and I did not see that coming.
No.
I did not. I saw maybe the Cowboys winning, but a touchdown.
Let's see.
But they scored by 5 touchdowns.
In all honesty, the predictions I remember that we got right was the Vikings ruling the NFC North.
You got that right.
Houston being a bottom tier team.
Yep, and they still are. And they're still holding teams to less than 25 points.
Oh, Houston, they're going to be dangerous once they could get an offense going.
They get a quarterback in next year's draft, and then they used a few more of them beautiful pieces they got from Cleveland on some more talent. Oh, bro.
Oh, and Deshaun Watson comes back next week, don't he?
Yes. Yes, he does.
Oh,
and
Lord.
He comes back next week against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, and then, got some good storylines coming in. And fantasy-wise, I just gave up on fantasy. Better luck next year.
Well, in one league. I mean,
league.
You're doing good in the other league, in the NFL league. Actually, we have a big matchup this weekend against each other.
My revenge game. Try and make it 2-2.
You can't say revenge game. You're 1-0 against me in this league.
Are we going to count just this league, though, Jared?
If we're looking at the other league, I'm 1-0 against you there. So
you're 2-0.
Technically. Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, Jesus, I forgot we played so early in the second half of the season. Next year's going to be different. We're going to put money on this next year.
Oh, for sure. And hopefully, and I know Lexi will be involved in it because she's always asking me, what should I change it to? Who should I pick up? I ain't telling her nothing this week. Nothing.
Are the Lions getting serious?
I'm not going to tell you that answer because I don't know. The Lions don't know.
They've won 3 games in a row now. They've scored a minimum of 30 points in every game. Buffalo's secondary is not as good as it should be because they're down their number 1 safety and they're down their number 1 corner. And I don't even know if they're going to play again this weekend. So And I don't know if we're going to have Gregory Rousseau this weekend. So are the Lions serious right now?
I'm telling you right now, as a Buffalo Bills fan, if y'all lose to the Lions,
well, I mean,
we're in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we've done worse. I mean, we lost to the Jags, and still in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, but y'all played in Jacksonville. Y'all have a curse in Jacksonville.
I mean, we're playing in Detroit for the second week in a row, so hopefully, with us playing last week in Detroit, we'll have like that confidence with the field,
that home field advantage.
In essence, kind of the home field advantage style. Even though, well, that's already happening. Did you know that they cannot tailgate in the parking lot at Lions Stadium?
Yeah, I wouldn't allow them either. Y'all are menaces.
No, they do not tailgate.
I mean, Detroit's a pretty crappy city. It's not to hate on Detroit, but
a few more scores here. How about there was a couple of doozies last week. You have the Titans knocking the Packers by 10 points. Aaron Rodgers is not looking like the $200 million man that he should be. What's your thoughts?
The Green Bay Packers are a bunch of idiots. Why keep Aaron Rodgers but ship away his number one target?
I think a lot of that was to do with Davante Adams himself. I think he was the one that kind of made that decision that he wanted to leave.
And Davante, look how dumb you look if that was your decision. You go from a generational talent to Derek Carr.
But they both look dumb with it, if you will.
I know.
I mean, if you think about it, though, if you think about it, Josh McDaniels is in a beautiful position right now. Tell me he's not. What do they got? 2 wins on the season? 2 wins, maybe? 3 wins. They got 3 wins on the season. They are bidding for a top 5 pick. They could literally hustle and get a quarterback in the beginning of the draft this year.
That'd be stupid. Like,
why?
Here's my thing. Here's my thing.
They're tired of Derek Carr.
Josh McDaniels needs to be fired. He cannot coach a football team.
Give him another year.
They gave him enough years in Denver.
Yeah, but they did and they didn't.
Like, you know what Josh McDaniels?
They fired him quick in Denver, so I'm going to have to disagree with that. I think he should have a minimum of 3 years.
So, you mean to what Josh McDaniels' coaching record is?
What is it?
13 and 23.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He has a 0.361% chance of winning, or winning percentage.
No way.
Jared, he cannot coach.
I feel bad for him.
I don't you can't coach. Why try? The Raiders are stupid for picking up him. There's a lot better coaching prospects. Like, why? Why pick up that bum? You have an offense. Like, you got a top 5 offense just off the top of my head right now with Davante Adams, Josh Jacobs.
Yep.
Derek Carr ain't a bad quarterback.
No.
Darren Waller when he's healthy.
Yep.
And Hunter Renfrow. And it's like,
I think they're a good quarterback away from being great, though. I really think they're tired of Derek Carr. I think they make a move in this year's draft.
But they need to get rid of Josh McDaniels. Fire him.
No, I think what they'll do is they'll draft a quarterback and they'll do kind of like what Mahomes and Alex Smith did in KC. They'll keep Derek Carr, let him play, and then it'll be like what San Francisco wanted to do with Trey Lance and Jimmy G, except it kind of went backwards.
Didn't I call that beginning of the season where I said, "Oh no, Trey Lance is garbage"?
Did you call that? We're gonna have to go back and look that up.
I want to, because I was never high on Trey Lance. Like, I'm never high on prospects where they can only say "Oh, he has a great arm,"
or he's a big mobile quarterback.
Yeah, is there anything else like IQ, accuracy? No.
Yeah.
Oh, he just has a strong arm.
Well, and that's the one thing I really different quarterback, but like Jalen Hurts. Everybody knocked Jalen Hurts so hard whenever he came into the league. Philly should have never drafted him in the second round. They made a big mistake. What a waste of a pick. And this dude played at Alabama and basically got kicked out by Tua. Went to Oklahoma and won a Heisman. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, look what he's done in the NFL so far. I love his confidence. I love the way he speaks and what he says whenever he talks about, yeah, we're 8-1, but I've been 8-1 plenty of other times. We got to keep playing. You know what I mean? Like,
and see, the only knock I have on Jalen Hurts,
what's that?
Is his playmaking decision at some points. Like, I love me some Jalen Hurts. Don't get me wrong, but there's some points.
Yeah, but bro, I think the only quarterback in the league right now that isn't that way, unfortunately, is Mahomes. This dude could close his eyes and pass the ball, and someone's going to catch it. You know what I'm saying?
And he has third string receivers playing for him. Can you name 3 of his receivers that's going to play this week?
He's going to play this week?
Yeah.
Valdez-Scantling?
Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster?
Oh, he's clear to play?
Is he? I don't know.
I don't know if they cleared him or not.
I'm guessing right now. Is Mecole Hardman back in?
But see, that's where the thing is, like, Mahomes, he's a generational talent. He is.
Yeah.
You can't argue with that.
Well, it's just, man, even if he's down, he knows he can win. And that is the beauty of Mahomes. Like,
and see, you remember how you said Josh Allen needs to have fun?
Josh Allen is getting caught up. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe like Mahomes did. You know how Mahomes won that Super Bowl real quick in his career?
Oh, yeah.
And then the next year, you could see like that. It almost was like, hey, we know you're on top now. You are the best. And all the eyes were on him, and he kind of like fumbled it a little bit, but then he just kind of regained himself. I'm hoping that's what's going on with Josh right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, that pressure has done caught you. You're feeling it. But now over the next couple of weeks, we're kind of just going to relax and let the game come back to us instead of stressing too much.
And he just needs to have fun with it, man. But I feel like that's good with NFL talk. I just want to say a little bit beforehand. I want to say next week we will have a special recording. Jared sadly won't be with us next week, but he will be with us on video chat. Me and our recurring guest Soper will be dropping a video, hopefully Friday night, Saturday morning, before the UFC event in Orlando, where we're going to talk about that, talk about football, fantasy, and just have a good time with everything.
That's right.
And hopefully y'all enjoy that episode with us, because it's going to be in a special place for us.
And it looks like the card doesn't look too bad either for UFC on Fox there out of Orlando.
Oh, it's on Fox?
That's what I see right here. It says UFC on Fox 28. Main card is Josh Emmett versus Jeremy Stevens.
Nope, that's not it.
So we're looking at the primary card?
No. The main card, so it's UFC Fight Night, Thompson versus Kevin Holland. So the main event is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Kevin Holland. 2 stand-up fighters. You will see fireworks with that. Then you got Brian Barbereno versus Rafael Dos Anjos for in the welterweight division. And then you got Tai Bam Bam Tuivasa versus Sergio Pavlovich. And then you got Derek Brunson versus Jack Hermanson. You got a bunch of big names. You got, if you're old school, you got Clay the Hammer Guida versus Scott Holtzman. It's going to be a fun time. Going to be a fun time indeed. And you got the human highlight reel, Nico Price.
I think I'm kind of excited to see the Thompson Holland fight.
Oh, dude.
Sometimes Thompson looks immaculate, and sometimes he just looks like he's just walking around. I don't know. He gets
Superman punch knocked out by people.
but he wins. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's fun to watch because like even though he looks like he's losing, he can still win.
Yes, sir. Well, that is all for the Playbook Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Always remember to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, and ring that notification button to see when we drop our next episode. And Jared, hit him with our catchphrase.
All right, everyone. And don't forget to keep your playbook beside you. So on every episode, you can open it right back up and join us on everything we talk about. You all have a great night, and we'll talk to you next time.
See ya.
See you later.